Hello friend, Eldon here, and today I thought I would show you quickly how to create a native app for macOS, and I believe this would work for, possibly for, there we go, for Windows, Mac, or Linux. So if you're on one of those platforms, this should work. Obviously there'll be some differences maybe in how you would trigger this, but let's go ahead and clear out my terminal. We're going to be using a tool called Nativefier to create a Electron app from a website. In this case, I'm going to use my website, ImagineWP, which is an awful looking website at the moment, but that is what it is right now. So it's a work in progress. But if we head back over here to the Nativefier docs and pull up our terminal, we can see what we'll need. I'll go ahead and copy I guess first I need to actually copy the command from here in the Nativefier README file or docs. When I installed Nativefier globally like this, I had to use sudo npm install Nativefier. So what I typed to install this on my Mac OS, I would first try it without sudo, but then I had to use this to get it to install, and I'm not entirely sure why all that is, but regardless, it worked fine once I did that. And then we will grab this little bit of code here, or bit of a command, and we'll come back here. We'll start off with sudo. If you had to use sudo to install Nativefier, you'll probably need to use sudo to run it as well. So we will drop sudo nativefier --name, and we'll give it a title here. So we're going to call this app ImagineWP, and then we'll drop the URL in here. So I'll grab the URL here, and we'll head back over here, copy, paste that in, and we will go ahead and hit enter to run that. Now I'm doing this on the desktop so that I can easily find it. I'd probably recommend doing that as well for your apps. Now this isn't really a good use case for why you would want to create a native app for your website. Maybe you do, but I've used it to create native apps for things like, what's the ones I use every day? Clubhouse, I guess, would be the one I use the most. I use one for Asana. Basically apps that I use often that don't have their own dedicated app. I've used Nativefier to create them. So we'll go ahead and grab ImagineWP here within the directory that's created, and we'll just drag that over here to the applications. It'll drop in. I'll go ahead and delete this from the desktop because we don't need it anymore. And then we're going to head over to Figma, and this is a very poor example of how you might want to do this, but I like to create create icons for the different projects that I've built apps for with Nativefier. So I'm going to just quickly center these two things, and then we're going to give this one a very soft shadow, and we'll export that app icon. So we're going to use this for the icon for ImagineWP. It doesn't match the site at all, but that is the beauty of demos. So I'm going to use a app called Image to Icon that I found works well for this, and I'm going to simply drag in the PNG here that we exported from Figma, and then we'll hit export. I'll choose ICNS, and we'll put that back on the desktop. Now if we head over to applications, let's see here, go ahead and close that out. Applications, and ImagineWP, there it is. We'll right click and choose Get Info, and that will pull up this little dialog here. We'll head back to the desktop and pull up the Get Info, which goes underneath for some odd reason. So we'll pull that here where everybody can see. Then we'll grab the ICNS file and just drop it right in here. That will update our icon. Now, if we've done everything properly, we should be able to close everything. And then I will open up ImagineWP, the app. And if all goes well, here we have our native Electron-based web app for ImagineWP. So maybe you have a project that you're building that you want to have a native app for on your desktop, and this is a simple way to do that. Or maybe you just use a website or a product like Clubhouse or Asana, and they don't have their own native apps. Maybe they do at this point, but they didn't when I was initially looking for native apps. So now we have a native app here for our website, web app, and we also have created a specific icon for it. So hope you enjoyed this. If you did, you can give it a thumbs up here on YouTube or head over to ImagineWP and maybe you'll see more videos like this in the future. See ya.